Even so, the ninth ring was still vast. Its area was no smaller than a small 1,000 worlds. Yang Chen was in shock. He hadn't expected that such a secret existed in the Tianshu continent. He immediately thought of Old Rome. Old Rome was from the ancient Kuei-Shing Tower and had entered the Tianshu world from the vast endless void. Old Rome had said that he had wandered the Tianshu world for tens of thousands of years. It was impossible that he didn't know about this. Why hadn't he mentioned it? Was he intentionally hiding it? And if so, why? Yang Chen suddenly realized that his perception of the world was too shallow. He had only been following myths and legends. It was clear that they were false. He was most confused about the cultivation system. He had thought that all cultivators, even in the endless void, regardless of whether they were from the grand, middle or small 1,000 worlds, were true cultivators like himself. But now, that no longer seemed the case. At that moment, Yang Chen had a very uneasy feeling. It was as if they were all puppets, being raised by the true rulers of the human race, or perhaps by an even more powerful force. Everything they knew was likely being controlled by someone above. After thinking for a while, Yang Chen asked, "Tree person, what is your relationship with that black giant? Are you talking about stupid Ku? I will be his lord in the future." "Isn't that great, Lord?" Yang Chen asked, confused. "What's a lord? By the way, is stupid Ku human?" The black demon tree person was astonished. He looked at Yang Chen. "Are you not stupid? How can you ask such idiotic questions? Forget it. Since you're going to be food, stupid Ku will be merciful and explain it to you." "Weak little thing," a winged demon sneered. "You're quite cocky for a genius among the warrior demons. Though you have noble blood, you are merely a side branch of a minor family. Still, your talent is considerable. You will surely become the lord of our Shizhou ring. This is merely a Dijou, a treaty between us black demon and warrior human races, a mutual integration of our bloodlines. Understand?" Yang Chen questioned, his steps halting. "Black demon, how many elites do you have like this Shaku in your Shizhou ring? How many top experts?" The black demon was taken aback. "There are many experts in the Shizhou ring," he said, tilting his head. "Why are you asking so many questions? You won't live for long anyway. You're a prisoner, and you still don't know your place. Asking all these questions." With that, the black demon's face vanished into the shadows, no longer paying attention to Yang Chen. Yang Chen realized that he couldn't get any more information from this arrogant winged demon. "Hey!" Yang Chen asked, his voice cold. "What's your cultivation level, black demon?" Perhaps sensing Yang Chen's change in tone, the black demon sneered. "Ha! Little human, are you perhaps thinking of making a move on me? Even if you've gained some little tricks, looking at your aura, you're only at the martial king realm at best. If I wasn't worried about causing trouble, I would have turned you into a shriveled corpse." Yang Chen thought to himself, could the cultivation levels here in the Shizhou ring be the same as ours? "What's your cultivation level?" Yang Chen asked, testing the waters. The black demon declared, "I'm not an adult yet, but I'm already an advanced martial king. Your ancient human fighting styles are too weak. I can easily defeat a whole group of you." Yang Chen laughed. "Heh, a mere martial king is acting so arrogant." Putting on an act, Yang Chen waved his hands. "Black demon, why would I attack you? May I ask, where does Shaku rank in your Shizhou ring?" "Don't call him Shaku." The black demon was annoyed. "You ancient humans are arrogant and ignorant. Fine, I'll tell you. Shaku is one of the top contenders in the Shizhou ring. Although he can't yet compete for the ring lord position, his fighting strength is enough for him to be among the top 10. Finally getting the information he wanted, Yang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the Shizhou ring was not as strong as he had feared. After all, Sheikah's fighting power was only comparable to a low-level human emperor. By this logic, the strongest in the Shizhou ring should also be at the emperor realm. The black demon was now useless. Yang Chen's expression turned cold, and his killing intent surged. His holy light surged, ready to unleash his power. The black demon, sensing the killing intent, was shocked. He couldn't believe that a low-level human was going to fight him. "You!" Thinking it was too dangerous, Yang Chen unleashed the realm-shattering slash. In an instant, the space around Yang Chen and the black demon was shattered by the power of the attack. With a soft sound, the black demon, who was caught completely off guard, was sliced in two. The old man was unable to intervene. How could a mere martial king be able to withstand the power of his attack? Leaping into the sand pit, Yang Chen saw the bisected black demon. He quickly brought out the black wooden sword to absorb the rapidly dissipating soul energy. "Old Rome, you're here," Yang Chen said. "Master, Sai, black demons are a very high-level spiritual entity. Obtaining their complete body and merging it into the spirit energy has a chance of evolving the spirit energy itself. What? Yang Chen inhaled sharply. Black demons have such abilities. Impossible. If that were true, wouldn't black demons be hunted by every cultivator? Old Rong, isn't it strange that the black demons haven't been eradicated? Yang Chen asked. Old Rong laughed. It's rare to see a direct cultivation path in the various worlds within the endless void. I am also very curious that there are quite a few black demons in the heavenly continent. If the residual soul is successfully refined into the black wooden sword, the sword will indeed have a great chance of advancing to an intermediate spirit artifact. But where is it easy to obtain a living black demon like this? Refining the dead soul into the black wooden sword requires extraordinary refining skills and has a very low success rate. But if you have the body of a black demon, you can directly integrate it into the black wooden sword. As long as you have enough black demon bodies, the black wooden sword can reach the next level. With certainty. Realizing this, Yang Chen felt a pang of regret. It's such a pity. If I had known this earlier, I would have brought the other one back too. However, knowing the situation in the Shijiao ring, Yang Chen was certain that there were still many other warrior demons here. It was likely that each warrior demon had a Diju. Thinking this, Yang Chen became excited and eager to find the next pyramid. However, Yang Chen carefully searched the space within the pyramid. After confirming there was nothing unusual, he walked through the black gate. Yang Chen was also curious as to why Shaku was so poor. Besides the Diju and the body of the black demon, there was nothing else. It was almost comical. As soon as they saw Yang Chen return, the others eagerly entered the black gate, as if they were afraid of missing out on something good. However, those who entered the pyramid would return empty-handed. Yang Chen asked, Old Rong, are all the warrior demons this poor? Not even weapons, or snacks? The more Yang Chen thought, the more something felt off. After a moment, Old Rong explained, Master, warrior demons have a special way of cultivating. They don't directly refine spiritual stones. Their cultivation is rooted in these training pyramids. All of their wealth goes into the training pyramids, which are the only way they can quickly improve their cultivation. At this, Old Rong changed the subject. Also, under the warrior demon training pyramids, there are usually mineral veins. The lowest level training pyramids are usually linked to a low-grade spirit or vein, and higher level pyramids are linked to a mid-grade spirit or vein. Hearing this, Yang Chen's heart skipped a beat. His previous disappointment vanished instantly. Are you kidding me? Under the warrior demon training pyramids, there are mineral veins, and even the lowest ones are low-grade spirit or veins. How many spirit stones would that be? If it's a mid-grade vein, Old Rong, Yang Chen asked. Based on your experience, is this training pyramid linked to a low-grade or a mid-grade spirit or vein? Old Rong answered, it's a low-grade spirit or vein, and the reserves aren't that large. Although a bit disappointed, Yang Chen was still thrilled to get his hands on a low-grade spirit or vein. He eagerly waited for the others to exit the pyramid so that he could destroy the base, unearth the ore vein, and take the spirit stones. After a long time, the disappointed group of people came out of the black portal. Hey, Yang Chen, what do you mean by that? You're not eating like that. There was nothing inside. You took everything. You didn't even leave us the soup. Xiaoer also glared at Yang Chen with a threatening look. Are you going to share? Suppressing his laughter, Yang Chen explained everything he knew about the warrior demons and the pyramids. Still, the others were suspicious, thinking that he had hidden all the treasures. From a normal perspective, how could Shaku, who was comparable to a human emperor, not have any wealth? Just as Yang Chen was about to leave, some of them hesitantly said, we can't go back empty-handed. Let's all attack the pyramid. Yeah, we don't believe there isn't anything inside. Stop, stop. Yang Chen stopped them. Are you kidding me? If you start messing around and trigger the low-grade spirit or vein, that would be a disaster. Listen, there is a possibility of a low-grade spirit or vein under this pyramid. You guys can't mess around. Let me do it. Low-grade spirit or vein. The others' eyes widened. A low-grade spirit or vein. Are you sure? How can a mere 5th-level cultivator have a low-grade spirit or vein? However, they were unaware that this place was not a secret realm, but a part of a vast fragment of a greater world. Little brother, you're not playing with us, are you? Even I don't believe you, one of them said. Too lazy to explain, Yang Chen brought out the Kuei Xing King sword. Guided by Old Rong, he began to destroy the pyramid base. In less than half a day, the imposing black pyramid completely disappeared. In its place, there was a large square base. Only then did they believe it. They could feel the incredibly dense spiritual energy radiating from the base. We need to be even more careful now. One wrong move and we could blow up the entire vein. Demolishing the pyramid base required skill. If it weren't for Old Rong's guidance, Yang Chen might not have been able to get the ore vein. After demolishing the base, the others rushed forward. Below, they saw a beautiful, dazzling sight. The low-grade spirit or vein. Ha ha. Yang Chen laughed. What are you all waiting for? Start collecting the spirit stones. Whoever collects it, keeps it. Even though it's a small low-grade spirit or vein, it will still give us a big boost. The others scrambled down to the ore vein, madly collecting as many spirit stones as they could. Yang Chen also joined in the rush. A whole day passed. The laughter of Yang Chen and his group never stopped. Was there anything more exciting than getting rich? After a day of looting, Yang Chen and the others had emptied the ore vein. Yang Chen himself obtained a vast amount of spirit stones. Then, the group happily left the remains of the pyramid. Based on the information I gathered, this is not a secret realm, but a special space called the Shijiu Ring, Yang Chen said. There are many giants like the ones we saw before, called warrior demons. The warrior demons' cultivation system is different from ours, but they are much stronger than us at the same level. If this were before, they would have protested. But after having harvested a whole spirit or vein, they had no complaints. Yang Chen did not explain further, his expression grave. Clearly, this place was extremely dangerous. The human cultivators who entered this place with us will be in grave danger if they encounter warrior demons. The warrior demons see humans as food. Yang Chen, are you planning on leaving? Wen Kuang asked hesitantly. We don't have to be afraid, right? Everyone was still excited about the ore vein they had just harvested. Why would we leave? Chao immediately protested. What are you thinking, little brother? This is a treasure land with low-grade spirit or veins. Don't worry. Well, crush those warrior demons. Helpless, Yang Chen had to grit his teeth and continue searching for the next pyramid in the endless desert. But he still felt uneasy, not knowing why. Deep down, the black demon's words about Shaku were likely true. In this place, in the so-called Shijiu Ring, Shaku's strength was among the top 10. The strongest one here, the Ring Lord of the Shijiu Ring, can't be too powerful. Yang Chen's guess was correct. Most of the human cultivators who entered this place from the eastern continent had encountered pyramids in the vast desert. And their nightmares had begun. Some were lucky enough to encounter weaker warrior demons, but many cultivators encountered extremely powerful warrior demons. As a result, they died miserably or were eaten by the demons. However, some managed to escape, trembling with fear. Those who had barely escaped cursed the heavenly family. They began to use their teleportation talismans to carefully make their way out. They no longer had any hope of obtaining treasures, they just wanted to survive and escape this hellish place. Even if they saw a pyramid in the distance, they would avoid it, taking a detour. But Yang Chen's group continued to search for pyramids. In just 10 days, Yang Chen's 8-person group had become extremely wealthy. They found 2 more pyramids in the vast desert. However, these 2 pyramids were much smaller than Shakus and not as imposing. The warrior demons inside were also weaker, comparable to intermediate human warriors. Wen Kuang and the others easily took care of them. However, something was making them feel disappointed. After destroying the pyramid, while there were large amounts of low-grade spirit stones, there were no more ore veins. Thus, Wen Kuang and the others were yearning to find a larger pyramid and harvest a larger low-grade spirit or vein. This day, Yang Chen's group was once again stopped by a vast, continuous sandstorm. Suddenly, at the top of the sandstorm, several figures came flying down rapidly, heading straight towards Yang Chen and his group. Seeing these figures, Fei Yin-Tu excitedly rubbed her hands. It's other humans. But then, Yang Chen and the others' faces changed. From the distant base of the sandstorm, a terrifying energy and space fluctuations exploded. A gigantic figure appeared. This powerful giant let out a thunderous roar, and locked onto the group of human figures fleeing in front of it, and was rapidly approaching. Even when Xiao Jiao felt a sense of impending doom. Run! Yang Chen yelled, his face pale, and turned to flee. Wen Kuang and the others also realized the gravity of the situation. Once they encountered a warrior demon of that scale, they would surely die. It was time to flee. Unfortunately, the few cultivators who were running for their lives discovered Yang Chen's group, and changed direction, flying towards them. The enraged heavenly giant was overjoyed when it saw Yang Chen's group. So much food. I can have a feast. The heavenly giant drooled as it charged towards Yang Chen and his group. Trouble, Yang Chen thought, feeling a chill run down his spine. This one was even stronger than the divine lords in Donglin City. Once Yang Chen's group was caught by it. Wen Kuang cried out, what is that? How can there be such a terrifying monster? What do we do? What do we do? In this crisis, Yang Chen had no other choice. He knew that if Wen Kuang and the others were caught by the heavenly giant, they would all die. It seemed that he had to try his best, but Yang Chen didn't know if even if he exhausted all his power, he could even slow it down. Yang Chen immediately focused his mind, entered his inner world, and urgently asked Rong Lao, Old Rong, if I control the Pei Xin Lu to its full power, can it stop the inner demon? Romlao solemnly said, "It can only stop it a few times at most. A few times is enough for a gamble." Yang Chen immediately instructed, "Fourth brother, lead them towards the exit. He'll stay and hold back that guy, otherwise none of us will escape." "Little brother, are you crazy?" Shirjani exclaimed anxiously. Yang Chen said, "Fourth brother, I'm not joking with my life." "Don't worry, you guys go. Bro, Yang Chen." Jian Wuk and Chen Lingxi were also extremely worried. "Go. Hurry." Yang Chen roared, stopping in his tracks. "Let's go, quickly." Helplessly, Shirjani and the others fled. The figures of the people being chased by the Qin Tian giant became clear to Yang Chen. To his surprise, it was Ying Zhang, Yan Hui, Hong Xiao, and Fang Chongping. No wonder these four, though only at the peak of the 9th stage of the martial king realm, possessed combat strength comparable to early-stage martial emperors. The Qin Tian giant also sensed Yang Chen and let out a confused roar. He didn't understand why Yang Chen wasn't running. They can't be serious, right? Though Ying Zhang couldn't see through Yang Chen's cultivation, he knew that Yang Chen was just a martial king, which was nothing compared to the Qin Tian giant. Is he stupid or just courting death? Although Ying Zhang and the others were confused, they didn't stop. They quickly passed by Yang Chen. Only Yan Hui glanced back at Yang Chen with a doubtful look. Others might not understand Yang Chen's mysteriousness and power, but Yan Hui knew, especially that Yang Chen had obtained the Earth's heritage. If it weren't for his ancestors' orders that he couldn't have bad intentions towards Yang Chen, he would have attacked long ago. Maybe he can stop him, Yan Hui muttered, expressing a hint of gratitude. He glanced back at Yang Chen and then flew away. After a few breaths, the Qin Tian giant paused, a confused look on his face. What is this ancient human monkey trying to do? Waiting to be eaten. In an instant, the Qin Tian giant's large hand carefully reached towards Yang Chen. He had to be careful. Sensing Yang Chen's aura, the Qin Tian giant was afraid of crushing him into a meat paste. If I crush him, he won't be tasty. Just then, a rapidly expanding building blocked the Qin Tian giant's large hand. A spiritual artifact. The knowledgeable Qin Tian giant recognized the essence of the Pei Xian Lu at a glance. To think that this weak ancient human monkey has a spiritual artifact. It seems he has an unusual identity. But such a small monkey will taste even better. Though his large hand was blocked, the Qin Tian giant was even more excited. He was not worried about the escape of the other small monkeys. The Qin Tian giant clenched his fist, causing the air to explode. Just the clenching of his fist could shatter space. Terrifying, too terrifying. Yang Chen, originally hesitant, was now determined to use his ultimate trump card. Yang Chen's ultimate trump card was the 2 arrow tips on the small arrow within the black hole soul. One was the mysterious golden arrow tip, and the other was the Taitsong arrow tip. What a pity, what a pity. If I use one of them, my ultimate trump card will be reduced, and I will lose the power to manipulate it. In this situation, without using the arrow tip, Yang Chen couldn't think of a better solution. With a snort, the Qin Tian giant sent the Pei Xian Lu flying with one punch. Damn! Yang Chen felt his heart sink, almost immediately activating the shadow escape technique. If the Qin Tian giant attacked him now, it would be dangerous. As the Pei Xian Lu grew larger, it continued to charge towards the Qin Tian giant. Yang Chen, not daring to hesitate, threw out prepared components, each one falling into the golden sand at a calculated interval. Quickly, Yang Chen deployed 3 large formations. The Minor Illusion Formation, the 7 Deaths Formation, and the Soul Slaughter Formation. This was because Yang Chen was too far from the Qin Tian giant. Even if he manifested his black hole soul, he couldn't lock onto his opponent with the golden arrow tip or the Taitsong arrow tip. He had to trap him within the 3 formations. Even if it only bought him a moment, that was enough time for him to unleash a killing move. Roaring again, the Qin Tian giant sent the Pei Xian Lu flying, and glanced at Yang Chen. Break! With a wave of his hand, the Qin Tian giant broke the Minor Illusion Formation. Too terrifying. This wasn't a conventional way of breaking the formation. It was using pure power to shatter a piece of space, opening up the formation. Yang Chen retreated quickly and entered the formations himself. He had to attack before the opponent broke through the 7 Deaths Formation and the Soul Slaughter Formation. Yang Chen activated his black hole soul and used the small arrow within it. The small arrow with the 2 arrow tips trembled slightly. Yang Chen then controlled the golden arrow tip, sending it through the black hole space. The golden arrow tip appeared. The Qin Tian giant, a bit impatient, immediately felt a sense of crisis. This is impossible. The Qin Tian giant couldn't imagine that there was any power here that could threaten him. There was no force that could threaten his life, even with a powerful spiritual artifact. As the Qin Tian giant looked at the golden arrow tip, his pupils contracted. He suddenly saw a golden beam of light. It was locked on him and coming straight for him. Feeling the terrifying power from the golden arrow tip, the Qin Tian giant realized what it was, but couldn't be sure. Not good. The Qin Tian giant panicked. He never expected that a weak ancient human monkey would possess such a deadly weapon. Clearly, this small monkey was an extremely important figure. Behind him was an extremely terrifying existence. Panicking, the Qin Tian giant tried to retreat. Too bad, it's too late. The golden arrow tip was too fast. It instantly pierced space and entered his eyebrow. Red, red, red. Even though it was the golden arrow tip, entering his sea of consciousness caused the Qin Tian giant to roar with unwilling rage, triggering an explosion within his sea of consciousness. The 7 deaths and soul slaughter formations were instantly destroyed, and the space around the Qin Tian giant was shattered. One spatial rift after another appeared, unleashing terrifying destructive spatial energy. Yang Chen flew back, stopping only after flying tens of thousands of meters. Yang Chen was covered in cold sweat. If he had stayed for even a moment longer, he would have been drawn into the spatial rifts and ripped to shreds. With a thud, the Qin Tian giant's massive corpse was torn apart. Pieces of his corpse were dragged into the spatial rifts. After about an hour, the chaotic space, meters away, finally returned to normal. Yang Chen, looking exhausted, teleported forward. He quickly took out a black wooden arrow around the Qin Tian giant's corpse, which was broken into many fragments. Without needing Yang Chen's instruction, Xiaoyao used his devouring power to absorb the remaining soul energy. Even though most of the Qin Tian giant's soul had scattered after self-destructing, even a small portion of soul energy that Xiaoyao devoured allowed him to not only recover his previous injuries, but also increase his soul strength. Feeling reborn, Yang Chen couldn't help but feel heartache for the lost golden arrow tip. It was such a loss. He used a trump card to only recover Xiaoyao's injuries and increase his soul strength. What a waste. But Yang Chen thought of something and looked towards the sand peak in the distance. The Qin Tian giant was chasing Ying Zhang and the others from that direction. The cultivation tower must be there. The Qin Tian giant has a cultivation tower, which must be filled with treasures. A cultivation tower of such terror, how could it not have treasures? Let's go. Yang Chen, feeling his heart burning with excitement, collected the fragmented stones of the Qin Tian giant and stored them in his interspatial ring. He flew towards the sand peak. I must find the Qin Tian giant's cultivation tower. Yang Chen flew as fast as he could, his mind only thinking about the Qin Tian giant's cultivation tower. After half an hour, Yang Chen arrived at the foot of the sand peak and was shocked at what he saw. Nothing. It's just a sand peak. Where is the cultivation tower? Feeling strange, Yang Chen flew higher and looked around. Within a radius of hundreds of miles, he didn't see any sign of the cultivation tower. Could the cultivation tower be further away? Yang Chen spent 3 whole days searching everywhere within a mile radius around the sand peak. He had thought that the Qin Tian giant's cultivation tower might be hidden by a large illusion formation. Now, it seemed it wasn't nearby. I have to expand my search area. Yang Chen continued his search, leaving the area where the Qin Tian giant had died. After traveling thousands of miles, he still didn't find anything. This is unbelievable. He hadn't found the Qin Tian giant's cultivation tower. Along the way, he hadn't even encountered any other demonic war beasts' cultivation towers. If I had known, I should have asked Ding Zhang and the others about the cultivation tower's locations and characteristics. Full of frustration, Yang Chen continued his search. When he passed over another sand peak and saw the scene in front of him, he was completely stunned. So many. Countless cultivation towers covered the desert for hundreds of miles. Most eye-catching was a pyramid in the center, towering thousands of feet high. It seemed like it was trying to pierce through the sky. This must be a city built by the war demons. The owner of the massive pyramid at the center must be the king of the city. Yang Chen immediately thought of the Qin Tian giant. Could the Qin Tian giant's cultivation tower be in this city? Or could the Qin Tian giant be the king of this city, the owner of the large pyramid in the center? Yang Chen's heart was burning with excitement. He immediately flew towards the pyramid city. The city was very regular, a pentagon. The outer areas were filled with small pyramids, one next to another. The further one went toward the center, the larger the pyramids became. From the arrangement of the cultivation towers, it was clear that the war demons had a strict hierarchy. When Yang Chen approached one of the pyramids, he frowned. He vaguely felt a pure, spiritual energy under the sand that continuously flowed into the pyramids. If I'm not mistaken, there must be a large mine under this city. Yang Chen paused for a moment, hiding himself in another dimension. With a serious expression, he knew entering the city was difficult. The pyramids, forming the city walls, were interconnected with restrictions. If he broke in, there were only 2 possibilities. Either he would be directly erased by the powerful restrictions, or he would alert the war demons within the city. Flying in the air is not an option. It seems he'll have to sneak in. After a while, Yang Chen submerged himself under the golden sand. Just as he was happy about the more concentrated spiritual energy beneath the surface, he was surprised. Beneath the desert were countless, large and small, light blue pipes, and these pipes were continuously writhing. Fortunately, Yang Chen was hidden in another dimension. Otherwise, the moment he went under the ground, he would have been touched by these strange blue pipes. Even so, the slight spatial fluctuations from Yang Chen's shadow cloak still attracted the attention of these blue pipes. They thrashed, bent, and twisted, as if searching for something. What are these things? Yang Chen was stunned. The countless light blue pipes seemed to be conscious. Rong Lao, seeing Yang Chen about to reveal himself to study the blue pipes, quickly stopped him. Master, those are the foundation of the war demon's lair. The lair's foundation is the foundation of the black magic war demons. Yang Chen was shocked. The roots on the outskirts are already like this, so how big and thick are the main roots? This isn't a black magic war demon's root. Rong Lao explained, Master, the war demon's lairs are not always black magic war demons. There could be other types. In my opinion, these large blue roots should belong to a Kuan Sang. Kuan Sang. Yang Chen frowned and started searching his memories. Suddenly, Yang Chen remembered something and was shocked. No, according to the information I got from the Southern Yuan fire seed, the Kuan Sang is extremely rare. In the endless void, they only exist in the Taiming Great World. They are rare in other great worlds. As for middle-level worlds like the Heavenly Book continent, they wouldn't appear, because the Kuan Sang has an extremely terrifying power to collapse space. The stronger the Kuan Sang, the more powerful its ability to collapse space. Once they reach a certain level, their outburst can destroy a vast area of space, reducing it to nothing. This is a disaster for the middle-level worlds, so it's also difficult for the Kuan Sang to take root there. Only large worlds with highly stable space, or the endless void, can withstand the battle fluctuations of a Kuan Sang powerhouse. Yang Chen was even more convinced by the little black magic war demon's words. It seemed this place was truly a fragment of a great world. Knowing it was a Kuan Sang, Yang Chen became even more cautious. He could guess that the Kuan Sang hidden in this city was terrifying. If he provoked it, even if he was hidden in another dimension, he would still die. Yang Chen was even considering retreating. The mine was under the protection of the Kuan Sang's roots. It was unlikely he would be able to steal spiritual stones. Even risking sneaking in and digging a few, it wasn't worth the risk. But Rong Lao's next words made Yang Chen change his mind. Master, there is a lower-grade spiritual stone mine here. What? Yang Chen exclaimed. Lower-grade spiritual stones. And a mine. If I missed this opportunity, even the heavens wouldn't forgive me. With a new goal, Yang Chen cautiously moved through the sand, avoiding the Kuan Sang's roots. He temporarily put aside the Kuan Sang's terrifying power. After passing through a layer of sand, Yang Chen's vision became clear. The light blue and white colors intertwined. So beautiful. The different sizes of blue roots actually separated a space. Most of the white crystals were surrounded by the Kuan Sang's roots. These were top-grade spiritual stones. These top-grade spiritual stones were clearly formed when a lower-grade spiritual stone mine was so abundant with spiritual energy that it overflowed. Without touching the top-grade spiritual stones within reach, Yang Chen continued to cautiously move forward. Because there wasn't loose sand here, it was much safer, as long as he avoided the Kuan Sang's roots. As he slowly moved forward, Yang Chen noticed that the Kuan Sang's roots were getting thicker and thicker. They separated more and more top-grade spiritual stones, and the spiritual energy became increasingly terrifying. Rong Lao was also sweating, knowing that if they provoked the Kuan Sang, they wouldn't have any way to survive. As he slowly approached the center of the mine, Yang Chen's heart grew more anxious. The Kuan Sang's roots were getting bigger and bigger, some so thick that they seemed capable of shattering everything. In a daze, Yang Chen was startled awake. Yes, he saw so many spiritual crystals. Unfortunately, the Kuan Sang boundary was like a protective barrier. All the low-grade spiritual crystals Yang Chen saw were off-limits. This is unbelievable. He couldn't get even one. His eyes were red. Yang Chen gritted his teeth in anger. If he were strong enough, he could kill Kuan Sang and take all those spiritual crystals. An entire mine. How much wealth would that be? Reluctantly, Yang Chen went deeper. To his disappointment, all the spiritual crystals were tightly guarded by Kuan Sang's roots. He couldn't get his hands on any. Moreover, Yang Chen was a little apprehensive. Old Rong had repeatedly reminded him that Kuan Sang's roots here had an extremely strong sensory ability. If he went any deeper, it would be very dangerous. Kuan Sang was a genius when it came to space manipulation, with an uncanny ability to sense spatial fluctuations. Yang Chen had to stop. Suddenly, a dangerous idea popped into his head. Old Rong, what would happen if I detonated this spiritual crystal mine? Old Rong was shocked. Master, absolutely not. If you detonate this mine, the demon warriors above will be destroyed, the demon warriors will suffer heavy casualties, and even Koan Sang will be severely injured. But how would you escape? If Yang Chen detonated the mine, he would be right in the middle of the explosion. This was a fragment of a large world. Space was extremely stable. However, the explosion of the spiritual crystal mine would cause spatial ripples. Would there be any way to survive? Yang Chen considered detonating the spiritual crystal mine and hiding in the All-Heaven Dragon Disc, which might allow him to escape, but it was not certain. After much hesitation, Yang Chen could only return the way he came, thinking about how he had missed an entire mine. His head hurt. Seeing Yang Chen's reluctant expression, Old Rong chuckled. Master, a low-grade spiritual crystal mine is nothing. When you become strong, even a mid-grade or high-grade spiritual crystal mine won't be out of reach. That's right, why rush? Yang Chen left the area without hesitation. With his current strength, even if he knew there were spatial treasures within the city or beneath the ground, it would be difficult to obtain them. One day, I will return. Once he reached a safe distance, fearing that Shizhan, Wen Kuang, and Shan Lingxi would worry, Yang Chen took out his token and headed toward the exit. 5 days later, when Yang Chen arrived, he saw a white, somewhat illusory portal. Ah, so that's it. Yang Chen realized that what the Tianji family had activated was only a temporary teleportation portal. Looking at the white portal, he knew it could only last for a couple of days before dissipating. If the human cultivators didn't manage to get out in time, they would be trapped in the West Ninth Ring forever. The Tianji family must know something. Without hesitation, Yang Chen flashed into the portal. If this were just an ordinary trial, the Tianji family wouldn't have bothered to open a temporary portal. They would have invested more effort to manage it. After a moment of spatial distortion, Yang Chen was thrown out of the dark blue vortex and appeared at the bottom of a strong wind area. Brother Yang Chen. Junior brother. Before Yang Chen could take in his surroundings, he heard familiar voices filled with concern. Upon hearing those voices, Yang Chen let out a sigh of relief. He had worried about Shizhan and the others having an accident and being trapped in the West Ninth Ring. However, when Yang Chen clearly saw the situation, he gasped. Apart from the Tianji family cultivators, there were only about 100 or so other cultivators. Most of them were in bad shape, with missing limbs and pale faces, especially those with disabilities. If they couldn't reach the 10th level of the spirit realm and restore their bodies, they would likely be disabled forever. Strangely, all the Tianji Tower cultivators, including Bu Saran, were surrounding everyone else. They were surrounding the cultivators who had entered the West Ninth Ring, as if they were afraid someone would escape. Yang Chen's appearance made Bu Saran's tense face relax. If Yang Chen had been trapped in the West Ninth Ring, he might have gone against his family and tried to enter it. A short, blood-soaked figure with a sinister face rushed toward Yang Chen and glared at him coldly. Boy, tell me in detail what you encountered inside. If it's valuable, our Tianji family will greatly reward you. Upon hearing this, Yang Chen was furious. At that moment, he realized it was all a trap, a conspiracy. The Tianji family probably knew that it wasn't a trial, but the terrifying West Ninth Ring. But they were afraid of the losses in the West Ninth Ring. So they designed this trap. They lured the talented young cultivators from the Eastern continent to explore for them and gather valuable information. There were more than 1,000 talented martial artists from various prefectures of the Eastern continent. Now, less than 100 remained. They lost nearly. The Tianji family is ruthless. What he guessed was only part of the truth. There were even deeper secrets he didn't know. If the Tianji family truly wanted to use them to explore the West Ninth Ring, they hadn't expected such heavy losses. While Yang Chen was about to explode with anger, Bu Saran floated over. He looked at the short, blood-soaked figure, and Bu Saran said, "I'll ask him myself." The short figure retreated. Junior brother, Bu Saran didn't ask in public, but used divine sense to communicate. Junior brother, things are not as you think. You are still young. There are many things you don't understand, Bu Saran explained through divine sense. The purpose of gathering the talented cultivators from the Eastern continent to enter the West Ninth Ring was not only to gather information, but also to have you experience true life and death situations. Confused, Yang Chen asked through divine sense, life and death situations. What do you mean? After a moment of silence, Bu Saran said, Junior brother, you need to know this. Just remember it. Our human race has been on the verge of extinction for tens of thousands of years. The situation is getting worse. Yang Chen was truly stunned. It seemed that the situation was even more complicated than he had imagined. Damn it! Yang Chen cursed in his mind, remembering old Rong. That old thing must know a lot, but he refuses to tell him. Perhaps I am too weak, not even qualified to know the truth. Not just him, perhaps most human cultivators in the lower realms lived in blissful ignorance, unaware of the true nature of the world they lived in. Then, Yang Chen didn't hide anything and told Bu Saran everything he had experienced in the West Ninth Ring. After hearing this, Bu Saran, who had been worried, relaxed a little. Junior brother, he said through divine sense, there's no benefit for you to know some things right now. When you enter the Dongyang Dao Palace, you will eventually find out. Immediately, the Tianji family made everyone swear on their souls that they would not reveal anything about what they had experienced in the West Ninth Ring. The Tianji family then arranged for the cultivators from the eastern continent to board the airships and return to their homes. Xian Lingxi, Zhou Linger, and the other four went with Yang Chen to Dongling Prefecture. After returning to Dongling Prefecture, Yang Chen temporarily settled Xian Lingxi and the others in his mansion. If they wanted to enter the Dao Palace, they would have to wait until the end of the year. For several days, Yang Chen, Wen Kuang, and Jian Wuk focused on cultivating. Meanwhile, they led Xian Lingxi and the others to tour the city. Zhou Linger and Xiaoer were very happy. After admiring the prosperity of Dongling Prefecture, Xian Lingxi began to cultivate, along with Zhou Linger and Xiaoer. This made Yang Chen jealous. However, because of his experiences in the West Ninth Ring, Yang Chen didn't mind too much. There was still a long way to go. Anyway, he was already with Xian Lingxi. His future father-in-law was in Dongchuan. There was nothing he could do about it. After returning to the Dao Palace with Jian Wuk, Yang Chen noticed that the atmosphere was extremely tense. There were many people, and they seemed worried. It was strange that they didn't encounter a single instructor all the way to the entrance of the Spirit Abyss. After asking a golden-robed senior brother, Yang Chen learned that a large number of instructors had entered the Twin Realms battlefield. The Twin Realms battlefield. Yang Chen, remembering what Bu Saran had said, had a guess. If it had been before, he might have thought that the Twin Realms battlefield was a special place. But after his experience in the West Ninth Ring, he thought that the Twin Realms battlefield was likely similar to it, a corner of a fragmented world. Yang Chen couldn't help but think of what Bu Saran had said, that the human race had been on the verge of extinction for tens of thousands of years. Their situation was extremely dire, perhaps even on the verge of collapse. After entering the Spirit Abyss and returning to the cave where he was located, Yang Chen didn't cultivate, but instead sent his consciousness into the Purple Mansion. He asked, Old Rong, what is really going on? Old Rong sighed. He couldn't keep it a secret anymore. Master, the Heaven Scripture continent is extremely dangerous. It's being targeted by a giant power in the void. It's only a matter of time before it collapses. Master, you have infinite potential. There's no need to get involved in this. It's not safe, and you may even lose your life. Yang Chen chuckled. Old Rong, what are you talking about? The Heaven Scripture continent is my home. It is the foundation of our human race. As human cultivators, we can never allow it to be destroyed. We can't stand idly by while enemies invade and destroy our world. Who said that the Heaven Scripture continent is your home? Old Rong was also anxious. Instantly, Yang Chen was stunned. What do you mean? I'm not a Heaven Scripture human. How is that possible? I was born in Jiaogu City. Old Rong, realizing that he had slipped up, regretted it. If he didn't explain clearly, his young master might not be able to cultivate. Old Rong, what is going on? Yang Chen was truly anxious. Master, this is a very complicated matter. Let's start from 100,000 years ago. As Old Rong slowly explained, Yang Chen listened intently. His heart was churning like a stormy sea. It was unbelievable. It turned out that about 100,000 years ago, a rumor spread throughout the endless void. There was a primordial world about to be born. Many powerful figures and forces from the void began searching for the primordial world, even the top powers from large worlds. The primordial world was a place where the heavenly Tao origin was born. Only a world with the heavenly Tao origin could become a great kiliocosm. Unless a great kiliocosm experienced extreme disasters, it would exist forever in the endless void and would be almost impossible to destroy. Everyone wanted a great kiliocosm. In the beginning, the primordial world was said to contain countless powerful innate treasures. This was a goal for the strongest beings in the endless void. As for the heavenly Tao origin in the primordial world, it wasn't anything that these powerful people were particularly interested in. They were just a group of robbers. But when these robbers found the primordial world, it had already evolved into a middle kiliocosm, which is the Heaven Scripture continent. Under normal circumstances, the giants of the endless void wouldn't care about a middle kiliocosm, but the Heaven Scripture continent had the heavenly Tao origin protecting it. It wasn't a place where they could do as they pleased. Some reckless fools tried to force their way into the Heaven Scripture continent and were destroyed by the heavenly Tao origin. As a result, some giants in the endless void decided to use other methods. They sent their subordinates with weak cultivation to infiltrate the Heaven Scripture continent. Some set up traps, some tried to secretly destroy the place, others went so far as to move fragments from large worlds to forcibly connect with the Heaven Scripture continent. They even spent huge amounts to create pathways in space and transport seeds to the Heaven's Scripture continent. The moment that these seeds became native inhabitants of the Heaven's Scripture continent, the power of the heavenly Tao origin would decrease. The only native inhabitants were the extremely rare ancient human race. All other races in the void were said to be descendants of the ancient human race. Although the ancient human race was said to be incredibly powerful, their potential was low. They were born weak, even weaker than the demons. The seeds that had infiltrated the Heaven's Scripture continent began to grow, launching wars against the ancient human race. The Heaven's Scripture continent's origin was forced to split the world into fragments, each with powerful barriers. The ancient human race fought fiercely, but in the end, they were forced to retreat to the central area of the Heaven's Scripture continent, the ancient region. Yang Chen was stunned by what he heard. So all the beings, except for the ancient human race, were robbers. No wonder Busaran said that the human race had been on the verge of extinction for tens of thousands of years. In an instant, Yang Chen understood that those robbers deserved to die. At this moment, Yang Chen's blood was surging wildly. He felt a strong urge to go to the Twin Realms battlefield and kill those damned invaders. But when he thought about his current cultivation and strength, Yang Chen suppressed that urge. However, what old Rong said next turned his burning blood into ice. Master, you are likely a chess piece of some powerful being. A chess piece. Yang Chen's mind went blank. Considering the strange events that had happened, old Rong was likely right. He always felt that his life had been intentionally arranged. But as Yang Chen thought about his current identity, his blood boiled with anger. Am I a chess piece? Then, the one behind it is too terrifying. Arranging for me to be born into the human race. What kind of trick is that? Could it be that the primordial demonic dragon soul and the mysterious bloodline that I possess are all his doing? Yang Chen had never wanted to see his parents and grandfather so badly. They must know something. But where is that damned Shoshan? Perhaps he was a chess piece. The so-called native ancient humans might be chess pieces of the mastermind in the void. At this moment, Yang Chen's heart was in chaos. Old Rong sighed. See? You had to ask. Now, look at you. Sigh. In confusion, Yang Chen shut himself away for 3 days. Who? Yang Chen suddenly woke up. His handsome face was a little weary, but his eyes were bright as electricity. I, Yang Chen, am who I am. I will never be anyone's chess piece. I will tear all those old bastards to pieces with my own hands. Phew. Old Rong, who had been worried, finally let out a sigh of relief. He knew his master was just going to get stronger. He had recovered after only 3 days. Old Rong, how did you come to the Heaven's Scripture continent? Yang Chen asked in a cold voice. Old Rong laughed. He knew Yang Chen had misunderstood. Master, don't worry. I'm not a chess piece. 100,000 years ago, I was being chased. That's how I escaped into the Heaven's Scripture continent. That's good. Yang Chen asked, Old Rong, based on your experience, did you realize that someone was pushing me behind the scenes when I was in Jidong Prefecture? Master, Old Rong was also confused. He said, there are powerful figures surrounding you, but it's strange. They seem to be the guardians of some old powers. But I'm not too sure. Guardians. The first thing Yang Chen thought of was the shopkeeper of the Tiannan City Pavilion, who was also the supreme elder of the Donghuang Jian sect. Yang Chen asked, Old Rong, you should remember the Donghuang Jian sect elder. Have you sensed his presence recently? Strange, I haven't felt it. Yang Chen took a deep breath. The first awakening of his bloodline and the dark left eye were all the work of that person, hidden deep within. Whatever. Yang Chen sighed, feeling helpless. He believed that the truth of his identity would eventually be revealed. Right now, he couldn't be too anxious. Otherwise, it would only increase the trouble. The most important thing now was to improve his cultivation and strength and enter the Dongyang Dao Palace through the Heavenly Gate. Only by entering the Eastern Central Dao Palace could he learn some of its secrets. With greater motivation, Yang Chen began to cultivate in seclusion. This time, Yang Chen didn't leave his seclusion for 3 whole months. He had almost forgotten about Qianlingxi and the others. Therefore, after breaking through, he directly descended the mountain and rushed to the main city. Over the past 3 months, his gains had been immense. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th level of the King Realm, and he had also refined his spirit sense to the creation level. In addition, after much persuasion, Donghuang had finally successfully fused the Death Spirit into the Blackwood Sword, which was now a middle-grade spiritual artifact. Even the Blackwood Sword's spirit, Little Demon, had greatly benefited. However, when Yang Chen arrived at the gate, he couldn't find Qianlingxi. After asking, he learned that they had left 2 months ago, together with Jiyu Huang, for Changqing Mansion. According to the gatekeeper, Qianlingxi and Jiyu Huang were especially compatible. Ji Yu Huang had even brought Qian Links I to her hometown to broaden her horizons. As for combat practice, Xiao and Qiu Linger were clearly with Zhang Wang. The gatekeeper also mentioned that Ji Yu Huang had left a message, saying that they would only return before the Eastern Forest martial arts competition at the end of the year. Disappointed, Yang Chen felt a little lost. He left the gatekeeper's residence, and walked aimlessly through the crowded streets. Yang Chen. A familiar voice called out. Looking over, Yang Chen saw Yan Hui, looking vibrant. He also noticed that although Yan Hu's aura was contained, it still emitted a faint yellow glow. A king. This guy had actually broken through to the king realm. Yang Chen was a little surprised. To be honest, he didn't have a good impression of Yan Hui. If it weren't for the strength of the Yan family, he would have killed him already. But since arriving in Eastern Forest City, Yang Chen had noticed that Yan Hui had been showing him goodwill. He didn't know if this was a ploy, or something else. How about grabbing a drink? Yan Hui invited him. Sure. Since they were both in Eastern Forest City for the martial arts competition, Yang Chen didn't refuse. Perhaps one day, they would become comrades on the battlefield against the demonic race. Let's go to the East Star Tavern. It's owned by my family, Yan Hui said, inviting him to a tavern nearby. All right. Yang Chen and Yan Hui walked towards the East Star Tavern together. There were many customers in the tavern. Yan Hui led Yang Chen to a private room and, after ordering wine, said, Yang Chen, what do you think about the Dao Palace's expansion this time? Yang Chen was confused. Seeing Yang Chen's expression, Yan Hui understood. It seemed that he hadn't heard the news. It was understandable, since the news had only come out in the past few days. It's like this, Yan Hui explained with a smile. 3 days ago, the Dao Palace issued a decree. There will be a selection next year to recruit new students. Hearing this, Yang Chen frowned. That meant the heavenly battle would happen at the beginning of the year. Why? Isn't it supposed to be once every years? If the heavenly battle was held in 4 years, Yang Chen was confident he could reach the king realm. But next year? That would be difficult. He could only reach the 5th rank at best. Competing with a group of geniuses in the king realm would be challenging. Yan Hui, do you know why the heavenly battle is being brought forward? Yang Chen asked urgently. Yan Hui quickly explained, Yang Chen, this time it's not the heavenly battle. It's an assessment. ITLL probably test our 5 souls, combat power, and so on. Phew. Yang Chen let out a sigh of relief. It was just an assessment. He then realized that the reason the Eastern Central Dao Palace was changing was likely related to the war on the dual realm battlefield. The Eastern Central Dao Palace desperately needed to cultivate more strong human warriors. If it was just an assessment, Yang Chen was confident he could handle it. Jianwak and Qian Lingxi would also have good chances. Only Qiu Linger, whose cultivation was a bit weak, would be in trouble. Suddenly, Yan Hui lowered his voice, Yang Chen, my ancestor told me to warn you. Don't go to the dual realm battlefield before you reach the divine realm. Now, Yang Chen was even more curious. He had no connection with the Yan family's ancestor. Why would he care about him? Moreover, he had a good relationship with the Wen family, while the Yan family had always been at odds with them. Although they weren't enemies, they certainly weren't friendly. Seeing Yang Chen's confusion, Yan Hui explained, Yang Chen, to be honest, I don't know either. But I suspect that my ancestor might have some connection with your Firegate Mountain. If that was the case, then it made sense. No wonder Yan Hui, who had been hostile towards him when he first arrived in Eastern Forest City, was now showing goodwill. It turned out the reason was the Yan family's ancestor. That old man is not simple, Yang Chen thought to himself. He involuntarily recalled the eccentric old man who sometimes made him grind his teeth. After pondering for a while, Yang Chen brought the conversation back to the main point. Yan Hui, what do you think about the Dao Palace's changes? Also, is there any reliable information about the assessment? Yan Hui smiled nonchalantly. The Dao Palace is probably being pressured by those damned demons on the dual realm battlefield. That's why they've changed and are expanding the student body to cultivate more elite warriors. As for the assessment, I do have some inside information. It's said that several mansions near the Eastern Forest Mansion will be combined into one assessment area. A big shot from the Dao Palace will personally oversee it. Yang Chen still felt something was wrong. Even if the human cultivators were struggling on the dual realm battlefield, the Dao Palace shouldn't hold an assessment so hastily. Next year was too soon. Yang Chen didn't know that Wen Kuang and Jianwak were searching for him everywhere. After parting with Yan Hui, Yang Chen went directly out of the city and headed for the training grounds. As soon as he returned to the training grounds, Yang Chen noticed that many students were very excited. It was clear that some people had heard about the Dao Palace's assessment next year. However, when Yang Chen arrived at the information building, there was no information about the expansion posted on the notice board. Not far from Yang Chen, Jianwak, who had arrived at the entrance of the information building, saw him and immediately shouted, "Yang Chen!" Seeing Jianwak and Wen Kuang looking serious, Yang Chen was a little surprised. "Quick, let's go to the refinement hall." Refinement hall. Yang Chen frowned. Why were they going there? It wasn't a good place. Moreover, the refinement hall was a place for body refiners. Jianwak was okay to go, but what about him and Wen Kuang, who didn't focus on body refinement? The refinement hall had an unbearable environment. Once you entered it under special conditions, it was a painful ordeal. Normal people wouldn't go looking for trouble. What was even more important was that the refinement hall was divided into levels. Even at the first level, just staying there for a day cost credits. Only hardcore body refiners would go there. Yang Chen was dragged away from the information building by Wen Kuang. On the way to the refinement hall, Wen Kuang looked around in a secluded spot. Once he was sure no one was around, he explained, "Yang Chen, have you heard about the Dao Palace recruitment?" "I just heard." Yang Chen nodded. Wen Kuang lowered his voice and said, "My ancestor sent someone to deliver a secret message, saying that the Dao Palace recruitment this time is extraordinary. Our eastern forest and the nearby Changqing and 4 other mansions are in the 12th assessment zone. A Dao Palace big shot will personally oversee the assessment. Once you pass, you can directly enter the eastern central Dao Palace without having to go through the cruel heavenly battle." "I know that," Yang Chen nodded. "But that doesn't have anything to do with going to the refinement hall." "That's one part of it," Wen Kuang said seriously. "My ancestor's message said that the Dao Palace's assessment will focus on 2 aspects. Internal and external. Only those with excellent results will receive the Dao Palace's cultivation resources. Internal and external." Yang Chen was very curious, as it was the first time he had heard of this. Wen Kuang explained, "Internal refers to our spirit sense or true essence, while external refers to our physical strength. And in terms of physical strength, they are especially focusing on the refinement of our bone marrow." Bone marrow refinement. Yang Chen was even more confused. Wasn't bone marrow refinement something that was done only after reaching the divine realm? One reason the divine realm was called the divine realm was because one could be reborn from their bones. This required not only true essence, but even more energy from the bone marrow. It was no wonder that Yang Chen was surprised. Only hardcore body refiners would refine their bone marrow before reaching the divine realm. The resources consumed and the pain endured to refine bone marrow before reaching the divine realm was unimaginable. Therefore, no one would be crazy enough to refine their bone marrow before reaching the divine realm. It would be much easier to do it after reaching the divine realm. Seeing Yang Chen's confused expression, Wen Kuang said, "Actually, I don't understand either. But my ancestor told us that we must, at all costs, even if it means spending all of our credits, refine our bone marrow to a certain level. If we don't have enough resources, hell help us. Go to the refinement hall." Yang Chen immediately realized that there might be important information for him that he didn't know. The Wen family's ancestor was definitely right. Besides, we can ask old Rong. Right, we need to go there early. Once this news gets out, the refinement hall will be packed. Among us, the only place to increase our physical strength and refine our bone marrow is the refinement hall. Wen Kuang was making a lot of noise. In truth, he had no choice but to stick with Yang Chen and Jianwak, partly because of his relationship with Yang Chen. But more importantly because he didn't have enough credits to afford the expensive refinement hall. On the way to the refinement hall, Yang Chen ignored Wen Kuang's constant chatter and focused his mind on his own sea of consciousness. "Old Rome, why is the Eastern Central Dao Palace so focused on refining bone marrow before reaching the divine realm?" "It's necessary," Old Rome replied seriously. "Master, I was originally planning to tell you this after you reached the 5th rank. Do you know why the Eastern Central Dao Palace values geniuses who successfully refine their bone marrow before reaching the divine realm? Isn't that obvious? If I knew, I wouldn't be asking you." As Yang Chen was silently cursing, Old Rong explained, "Because only those who succeed in refining all of their bone marrow before reaching the divine realm have a chance to refine their bone marrow a second time. While those who wait until they reach the divine realm to refine their bone marrow will only have one chance in their entire lives. Refine bone marrow a second time." Yang Chen suddenly became aware. Perhaps a second refinement would bring about some kind of exceptional result. Before Yang Chen could ask, Old Rong explained, "Master, do you know why the war demons are so strong? Their unique cultivation methods are one thing, but their physical strength is also far superior to that of you ancient humans. Some powerful war demons can even travel through the void with their physical bodies, and they can withstand normal spatial turbulence with their bodies alone." Here, Old Rong changed his tone, sounding excited, "But, if you ancient humans can refine your bone marrow a second time, Your physical strength alone will be no weaker than that of a war demon at the same level, and it will be easier to achieve a divine body through a second bone marrow refinement. A divine body is one of the prerequisites for becoming a great Earth sovereign. I see. I completely see. Now extremely excited, Yang Chen made up his mind to refine his bone marrow this time, even if it meant spending all of his wealth. Soon, the confident Yang Chen and his group arrived at the refinement hall. To Yang Chen's surprise, the refinement hall was very deserted. Besides the light gates lined up in a row, there was only a listless fifth-rank senior brother. The senior brother on duty glanced at Wen Kuang and laughed. Wen Kuang, what's going on? I thought you weren't a body refiner. Did you get a little arrogant after reaching the king realm? Mind your own business, Wen Kuang said angrily. Yan Jia, I heard your junior, Yan Hui, has advanced to the king realm, and you, his uncle, are still in the 5th rank. What a shame. Yan Jia's expression turned dark. He yelled, which refinement hall are you going to? Why are you wasting my time? What a bunch of idiots. He. Wen Kuang laughed, seemingly in a good mood and not bothered by Yan Jia's words. We're all going to the 3rd level refinement hall. 3 days, please. The 3rd level. Yan Jia was clearly upset. What a waste of money. The 3rd level costs credits a day. For 3 people, that's credits. What a bunch of spendthrifts. Without saying anything more, Yan Jia took Yang Chen's identity token with a dark face, and deducted credits. He then slowly led Yang Chen and the others to the 3rd teleportation light gate and activated it. After paying so many credits, Yang Chen and the others didn't waste any time and immediately flashed into the light gate. As soon as they landed, Yang Chen's expression changed drastically. An overwhelming, invisible pressure came from all directions, as if trying to crush him into a pulp. Yang Chen sat down abruptly and immediately activated the sacred mantra, using his power to resist the invisible pressure. Only then did he feel a little better. Compared to Yang Chen's struggle, Jianwok and Wen Kuang seemed to be much more at ease. Body refinement was Jianwok's focus, so his physical strength was definitely much stronger than Yang Chen's. Furthermore, Jianwok was already a 5th-rank cultivator. As for Wen Kuang, his physical strength wasn't weak to begin with, and he was also a king realm cultivator. So, dealing with the invisible pressure here wasn't a problem for him. But soon, Jianwok and Wen Kuang weren't so relaxed anymore. A wild surge of invisible energy poured into the bodies of the 3, directly targeting their bone marrow. As a fire-type heavenly Dao master, Yang Chen could clearly feel that this strange, wild energy contained a violent, fiery aura. Yang Chen, Little Quebec, Wen Kuang shouted. Quickly control the wild energy entering your bodies. Shatter the bones. Not daring to hesitate, Yang Chen immediately used his powers to control the wild energy entering his body, forcing it to compress and gather in his left hand. At the same time, Old Rome began to explain to Yang Chen the process of bone marrow refinement. The bones of ancient humans are different from those of other species, and even from other humans or humanoid species. The bones in the body are divided into 3 parts, totaling bones. The first part consists of the skull, with bones, including the facial bones, cranial bones, and the occipital bone. The second part is the trunk, divided into the chest bones, the spinal bones, and the pelvic bones, with a total of bones. The third part is the limb bones, including the shoulder bones, arm bones, hand bones, leg bones, and foot bones, with a total of bones. Without a doubt, refining the skull bones is the most difficult. If you're not careful, you may cause your consciousness to collapse. The easiest are the limb bones, which are also the most important for human cultivators to strengthen. Whether in combat or everyday life, human cultivators use their limbs the most. Once the limb bones are successfully refined into divine bones, your combat power will be directly enhanced. Both your explosive power and escape abilities will be significantly improved. After refining the bones into divine bones, your defense will also greatly increase, especially the protection of your sea of consciousness. As for the skull bones, they are mysterious and complex. Without hesitation, Yang Chen, Wen Kuang, and Jianwuk all chose to refine their left hands first. But 3 days passed in a flash, and a surge of invisible energy forced Yang Chen and the others out of the third level of the refinement hall. Appearing in the refinement hall, Yang Chen and the others were dumbfounded. 3 days went by too fast. After they told each other what had happened, Yang Chen's expression turned grim. Wen Kuang and Jianwuk had actually completed the refinement of all bones in their left hands and were preparing to start refining the bones in their right hands. Yang Chen, however, had only refined of the bones in his left hand. He was lagging behind by a full half. No, this is too slow. Yang Chen pondered, Old Rong, why am I so much slower than them? Old Rong paused, then said, Master, perhaps your talent is unique. This might be a good thing. If you complete the refinement of your divine bones, you will be far more powerful than others. Really? Yang Chen was skeptical. Old Rong suggested, Master, this is easy to test. Try a higher level of refinement. If your bone refinement speed increases, it means your bones are indeed special. If it's slower, then there's another issue. Yang Chen took old Rong's advice. He turned to the stunned Meng Kuang and Jianwok. You guys continue with level 3. I'll go check out level 4. He handed his identity token to the elder and paid credits for a 3-day refinement session in the 4th level. Amidst the shocked gazes of Meng Kuang and Jianwok, Yang Chen stepped into the 4th teleportation gate. Meng Kuang was dumbfounded. Isn't it best to refine at level 3? What's Yang Chen up to? Jianwok muttered, my brother's hand bones are probably already fully refined. As soon as Yang Chen entered the 4th level, he was knocked down by the terrifying pressure. It felt like he was being crushed. Ugh! Yang Chen forced himself to activate his holy word mantra, protecting his body. At the same time, the violent gravity of the 4th level crashed into his body, impacting his meridians, flesh, and bones, threatening to tear him apart. Master! Focus! Old Rong shouted. Use the gravity on your left hand. Infuse the holy word mantra within to refine your left hand bones. Almost simultaneously, Yang Chen activated his holy word mantra, separating the gravity and merging the mantra with it. The gravity infused with the holy word mantra had become gentler. He then forced it into his left hand, beginning the refinement. Yang Chen couldn't help but cry out in pain. His left hand felt like it was being hammered. It was also swelling up. Amidst the pain, Yang Chen was also excited. Most of the bones in his left hand were being strengthened and refined at an incredible rate. It was too fast. The pain seemed to have lessened significantly. With renewed confidence, Yang Chen continued to infuse the gravity with his holy word mantra and refine the next part of his left hand. Similarly, it didn't take long for the bones in that part to be refined as well. My bones are truly unique. Yang Chen thought, excited. The process became much smoother. In less than an hour, Yang Chen had completed the refinement of his left hand bones. All 27 bones of his left hand had completed their first refinement. They were now truly divine bones.